Are you aware of the fact that some 3,521 years ago, Bantus, melanin-dominant human beings, were the superpower and the only superpower on the whole earth by virtue of controlling strategic posts and places on the globe? Our Nebanji, so-called Pharaoh Thutmose III, became one of the greatest empire builders, extending the African control further. But today, we have collapsed and failed and fallen from glory to slave. We were worshipped as divinities, but today, we are slaves. What happened? Which weapon defeated the first and original civilization on the earth? What warning can we learn from the one weapon that was used to conquer us? The lesson is on how this one weapon that was developed effectively destroyed the willpower of the children of the most advanced civilization that was ever developed on the earth. We want to learn some lessons from that. So our title is Learning Through One Weapon That Defeated Us. Today, millions of Bantus and melanin-dominant human beings will be shocked to learn that Africa was once a superpower, the first superpower on earth. Africa controlled everything and invented everything. However, today, there are many others that are stealing our African culture, our African kings, and painting these fake ones and acting in movies and Hollywood, these fake ones, not showing you the original. This is Jahutemex, meaning Jahuta is born, renamed Thutmose III by the Greeks, who ruled the whole earth. He single-handedly built the largest empire Africa had ever seen in all the time leading up to the 18th dynasty, and led several campaigns in which he conquered cities and established dominance as a world power. The current superpower races and individuals are stealing from the original one. Again, these are European facts of one Nebanji Ramasase II, one of the greatest, took the throne and sustained Ubuntu and Maati all over the earth. His father looks like that. Ramasase I Menrepie, born of Ra, established by the strength of Ra. He looked like that. And now they want to tell us that this is Ramasase. These are European facts. Ramasase II was introduced early to the military career of his family. Ramasase I and his great-grandfather Shata I, Seti I, had been commanders in the field. Ramasase II accompanied his father in Libya and campaigned against the invaders as a teenager. He also went to war in the Mediterranean and the Palestine region, and he won the war against the Hatti. Our exception was the weaponized cavalry. Africans developed every kind of military army and the arms known in the world. All these Africans were leaders. The bulk of our forces comprised of the infantry, which was light and fast and effective, and always carried small little shields and armed with lancers or bows. We manufactured of these tools. They usually carried short double-edged swords like that for close combat. However, there is also one tool known as kofesh, which was made by a very long curved blade like this one. We used bows and arrows, spears, and the lances. The shield was roughly about half the height of a man. The armor was unknown for the common soldier, his protection being little more than a tunic here in his head, and a belief, vigor, and strategy. So we were great. The infantry usually fought with a spear, a sword, or both. We were innovative, we were inspired. We had also other tools that we used to throw, and we also had the spears. When a new weapon surprised our ancestors, They did not go to that enemy to buy it. They innovated and adopted it and used it much better than the enemy. This is one key that we need to learn. When they were attacked by the Hyksos, who used chariots, our ancestors within a generation were able to make their own chariots and attacked and drove out the Hyksos. The birth pangs of the one weapon that defeated us started with the great archers of Africa, the Tarseti. In ancient Kush, the Sudan today, lived the most powerful defensive military force in ancient Africa. Kush was never and has never been conquered militarily by non-Africans. Those who have tried failed miserably. Without the Kushites, the Kemetic civilization would have probably collapsed earlier. This is from M.R. Himotep. The bow and arrow was perfectly used in Africa. That's why Tarseti, the name Tarseti means great archers, great people with the bows and arrows. That's why we were a superpower. There, showing these are weapons for close combat. These are the experts, the only archers in ancient times that were feared the whole world. Here, shown here. Although Nubians were known to be expert bow handlers, also called Tarseti, which meant the land of the bow, and feared worldwide, and even in hand-to-hand combat, our tools eventually became less effective. The bow and arrow could not be used if the shooter cannot see the target. And also when defending against close combat, the bow and arrow was not very important. It was good only maybe as a sniper weapon. Eventually, there were other developments dating back over 10,000 years BCE. The bow and arrow was an important weapon for both war and hunting before the invention of another weapon. The effectiveness of the archers helped to shape a number of societies from ancient to medieval times. That's the period where it was effective, and that's the period where we were almost on equal steps with anybody. The development of the longbow with its ability to pierce armor increased the effectiveness of long distance combat, which began to take shape. Yes, right. This is one that's shown here. And then there was the development of the composite bow, which was first produced in the Eurasian steppes during the Bronze Age. Things are changing, and our ancestors did not keep up with the pace of change. That was a great disadvantage. The first device identified as a gun was a bamboo tube that used gunpowder to fire a spear. It appeared in China around 1000 AD. The Chinese had previously invented another very powerful item. It was the gunpowder. This discovery of gunpowder spurred a dramatic shift when our ancestors missed it or failed to incorporate it in their tool and the military making technology. Our superpower status collapsed, vanished. Starting in 1864 with the first recorded use of firearm and ending in 1892 with the introduction of automatic handguns, all our bows and arrows, all our efficiency, everything, even our wrestling, our body armor and everything became useless. And we lost it. So here's the question: which weapon defeated the first and original civilization on earth? It's gunpowder. Gunpowder. What warning can we draw from this one weapon that was used to conquer us? Never ever ignore technological trends. Never ever ignore technological trends. Gunpowder, when it came in, we were supposed to jump on it. We were supposed to learn it. We were supposed to master it, just like our ancestors mastered the manufacturing of the chariot. What is happening today in the technological trends or in any other trend? That's the only way we can go ahead and capture it. Europeans stole gunpowder technology from the Chinese, and eventually military bows became obsolete around the 16th century when the firearms became more sophisticated. This is the weapon that vanquished us for good. gunpowder. So when we fought and tried to defend ourselves with spears, bows and arrows and shields against the guns, it was a losing war. Yes, we fought gallantly. We defeated and we destroyed some of them, which proves that if we had this technology of guns in advance, we would be ruling this earth. Which means today, if we set trends and hijack trends, we will go back at the top. And this is how Europe managed to take over the earth. We were still using the bows and arrows here and the swords and close combat, while others were already using the guns. And today they are using intra-dimensional tactics, hypersonic tactics. Thanks in part to the Silk Road and adventurous traders like Marco Polo. We need the Marco Polos amongst us. By the 13th century, ancestors of the modern firearm had spread from Asia to Europe, where they were further developed as weapons in the form of matchlocks, wheellock, and flintlock firearms. And from there, the game changed. So the guns, that changed everything. Even with our viciousness, our power, our swords, our shields, our weaponry, our speed, our athleticism, the bullet will stop you dead in your tracks. Even with your prayers, your fasting, your magic, your muti and tokolosh, the bullet will still stop you dead in your tracks. The guns changed everything. The invention of the continuous rapid fire on the battlefield was devastating, to say the least. This Maxim gun destroyed and conquered us. Since the development of the bullet from a spear and a poisoned arrow culminated in the devastating weapon, the gun, warfare tilted in favor of those with this technology. Colonization and enslavement of every melanin-dominant human being on the earth followed, and it is the norm today. It's the gunpowder that is causing our colonization and our backwardness. That is the lesson we can learn from this. That we need to go ahead with the trend and use the trend. But we need wisdom. We'll show how we will do that. What can we do about this aspect of this history? We have to look at the current COVID pandemic. We have to ask questions. We have to study and ask, who has studied the virus for us? Have melanin-dominant human scientists proved it? Or we are just regurgitating information from the colonizer and from the people that created the problem? Where are our own witches? Why are they just bewitching us and bewitching their own people and not witching the enemy? Where are our scientists? Why are they working against us? Where are our thinkers? What about our governments? What have we done personally? What do you independently do yourself? Or how do you think? Have you ever heard of the Tuskegee experiments? What do you think about that? So, learning through one weapon that defeated us will cause us to learn the lessons on how this one weapon that effectively destroyed the will power of children of the most advanced civilization was developed, will cause us to have a thematic query that will cause us to have a solution to the problems that we face. So we go back to this book, Mahati, Guiding Principles of Moral Living, to derive some lessons from that. Where TDK Kilimanjaro writes, in our understanding, morality is truth and justice in its purest applied form. This is the living meaning of Mahati truth and justice incarnate. It is fearless. These are the lessons that we need to learn from one weapon that defeated us. Fearlessness, with Mahati, with wisdom. It lives with honor. It does not panhandle principles for pay, no sellouts, promotion, or privileges. Yes. The physics of the matter is that a body out of place has to be moved back into place to balance the equation. This is also Mahati. So we need that body of technology, that body of information to be moved wherever it is to us. Now, there has been no Reformation, Enlightenment, or Renaissance epoch in modern African history, as with other populations in the world. As the result of this anti-science trend, there are absolutely no quality procedural science, engineering, maths, architecture, construction engineering, manufacturing technique, books written by black applied scientists, engineers in any bookstore or any place in the world. We are not talking about books describing who was a scientist. We are talking about books using science, applying science and engineering. This is very, very serious what he's saying here. What he's saying, this is suicidal that we don't have books in a period of massive white militia and Nazi material development. This is what he is saying. We need to be there. You see that? What they are doing? Yeah? Basic self-instruction in home computer language. We need to start, instead of teaching as the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, cramming all that, we need to move into science. In sum, Africans must not be confused into jetsoning the science that determines the quality and quantity of food, clothing, shelter, transportation, mass communication, and medical care. That's why we cannot wait for the global elites to give us patents. We have to rediscover ourselves. And medical care that they purchase, given how the white race has used the science to enslave and conquer the peoples of the world, including Africans. Very, very, very important. Go ahead of the trends. In advanced elements of ancient Hamite thought, spirit was will incarnate. The car was a vital force. I want to say that again. The car is a vital force. You need the car to accompany your brain to think. The African brain is ready to be washed clean by knowledge and information and true history and good food and exercises and thinking, and to start engaging the car and the bar again. If you want to look at this in a very serious manner and get more information, join us as we remake the weapon that vanquished us by using voodoo bullets. Send us an email on join@marfado and we'll share more information. Scientific African is a must. In the progressive element of ancient Hamite thought, each organic life form had a motive force, an internal driving force, a will. We have to discover the will of that technology. We have to go above what artificial intelligence is doing today. That will was manifest in real life deeds that developed in sequence, not in invoking powerless abstract spirits that could not stop one white man made bullet from piercing the skull of one innocent African child. Free will was supreme and internal to the individual. There was no predeterminism to make one person innately good or another person evil. You have to make your choice to be good, to be excellent, to be a genius. Those forces played themselves out in the internal struggles of the individual and were practically expressed in their day-to-day deeds. This is very important what Dr. TDK Kilimanjaro is saying here in his book, Mahati. So, join us today and let us walk this journey together. This is our website and this is our email. This preacher Rabbi LM Jones is saying, subscribe to our channel, Hamite Hebrew Ethics. And now is our time to awaken that which lies inside us, which is great. Tender, thank you. Siabonga, Enkos, Edupe, have a great day. Asante sana.